Welcome back to the Highlander National Championship 2017 coverage. My name is Kanishka Karunaratne from Paragon Games, and I'm here with Andrew Vance from the Highlander Points Committee. And we're here to announce the top 8 from the championship this year.
Yep, so the first one we're going to talk about is Andrew Reid. Andrew's a Canberra local who got back into Magic during return to Ravnica after a fairly long absence. He's playing a deck called Dr. Seuss, which is a red-blue fish deck. So it features creatures like Delver of Secrets, Young Pyromancer, Goblin Guide, and other efficient, aggressive creatures. Removal spells and card drawing and a small amount of counter spells, so things like Lightning Bolt, Mana Leak, and Time Walk, which lets him take extra turns, take control of the game, and he's got a number of ways to recur it, such as Snapcaster Mage and Little Jace.
Cool.
Next up, we've got Chris Addy playing Jund Lands. So it's a fairly traditional, in many ways, Jund deck that you might see in formats like Modern. So it's got cards like Scavenging Ooze and Tarmogoyf and Thoughtseize to take control of the game and gain incremental advantage. He's also got a small lands package built around Life from the Loam, Strip Mine, Wasteland, which lets him take control of long games and makes it very hard for control decks to take over the game and beat him. And he's got a small number of finishes like Titania, Protector of Argoth, which is a card you don't see a lot outside of formats like Highlander. It's not legal in Modern, but it's a very powerful card that lets you start turning your lands into juggernauts, essentially, and kills your opponent pretty quickly once that starts.
Cool. And next up is Jessica Estefan.
Yep, Jessica Estefan is on a Blue Moon variant. So it's a blue-red controlling sort of deck with Blood Moon, Back to Basics, Magus of the Moon. Jess has also chosen to play a couple of combos to finish out the game. So things like Time Vault and Splinter Twin and the cards that go with them. So her deck's got a very high density of game-ending threats.
Okay, cool. And next up is Antonio Malamace.
Antonio's Canberra local. He hasn't made it to the top 8 of any of the really big Highlander events previously that I'm aware of. He's playing a Bant deck, kind of like some of the ones we've seen in the earlier rounds, but he's chosen not to play black and some of the bigger creatures, and he's playing a much more aggressive deck. So he's still got things like Skull Clamp and Remand, but he's got less mana dorks, and his one drop has a lot more cards like Dryad Militant and Soldier of the Pantheon, which allow him to get some very fast aggressive starts and hopefully knock his opponent out before they get their feet.
Okay, cool. And Lachlan Wardsmith?
So Lachlan is the first of 2 Elves decks we're going to see today in the top 8. We've seen Lachlan playing in the earlier rounds, so his deck is built around... it's a classic ramp sort of strategy. So it's built around generating a lot of mana and casting enormous threats like Craterhoof Behemoth or Hornet Queen, or using natural order to get them out of his deck and into play immediately.
Too soon?
Yeah, much too soon for the opponent to cope with. Yeah. So it's a very powerful strategy that a lot of decks have difficulty dealing with.
Okay, cool. And the other elf deck?
The other elf deck is Justin Shung from Sydney. Justin's one of the best Magic players in Australia. He's not as well known in the Highlander circles, perhaps, as outside, but he's been, I think he's been the Australian national team champion. He's been to the Pro Tour multiple times. He's a very good player, and he's also chosen to play Elves. He's got a bit of an LD package, which Lachlan Wardsmith does not, but otherwise their decks have got pretty similar plans. It's use cards to generate mana, use things like Greenstar Zenith to get Dryad Arbor out of your deck or other creatures that you need for utility purposes, and stop your opponent from winning the game until you can cast something like Craterhoof and kill them.
Cool. Okay, and another Canberra local, Aidan Frisch.
Aidan Frisch is a former Highlander national champion. He's playing a deck of, I think, his own design, a Grixis control deck, which is not a really popular strategy, but he's done very well with it so far today. So it's much like the sort of Grixis control decks you might see in other formats. So it's using cards like Snapcaster Mage and Colligan's Command to generate advantage, and then finish the opponent off with cards like Tasigur the Golden Fang or possibly Vendilion Clique or True Name Nemesis.
Okay, cool. And our last top 8 competitor?
Matthew Guides. He's also playing Blue Moon. He doesn't have the Time Vault Splinter Twin kind of package that we saw in Jess's deck earlier. So it's a more traditional list, I guess. Again, his plan is to try and lock the opponent out of the game using either counter magic or cards like Back to Basics, and then generate enough advantage to win with a Jace the Mind Sculptor Ultimate or Young Pyromancer tokens or similar cards to that.
Okay, awesome. So that's the top 8. We'll be jumping straight into the first top 8 matches very soon. So thanks for watching.